This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hi and welcome to another episode of Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Teider. My guest today is Ashura Kayupayupa. Ashura is a lawyer and she's specialized in human rights and she's originally from Tanzania. Am I saying Tanzania or Tanzania?
Ashura? Tanzania.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. That's my
No
Croatian German accent involved in my English accent. So Ashura is talking to us from Norway right now, where she is currently living with her little daughter. Hi, Ashura, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Anna. Yeah, I'm doing fine, and thank you so much for having me.
I am super excited we're talking today. Because,
me too.
Yeah, because the whole idea of Thank You Mama is to talk about women from all over the world. And I'm very, very excited every time I bring in a new dimension and a new culture and a new topic. And we have some big topics to talk about today, as we just discussed.
Yeah.
So thank you for being my guest. Will you tell me a little bit more about yourself and your work?
Yeah, sure. I'm glad. Thank you so much, Anna, once again for having me. And I think you have a very good program to not only appreciate mothers, but also to amplify the lessons that we have learned and we continue to learn. And I guess it just, goes on throughout the life that those lessons will never go away, whether our mothers are alive or have parted away. So I am Ashura Kayupayupa, as you've mentioned, and I'm from Tanzania. I was born and raised in Dar es Salaam, the capital of the country. And I'm the first generation in my family to go to university. And later on, I did my master's in human rights in Austria at the University of Vienna. And I have been working in the development sector quite a long time, since even before I went to university. So I started as a volunteer with different organizations, empowering young people with civic education and economic empowerment. And later on, I was employed for a few years. But for the last 10 years, I managed to work as a consultant. And at the moment, I'm attached with one of the law firms in Dar es Salaam, where I'm assisting my colleagues. We are partners.
You managed to do this from Norway?
Yeah, even now I can do from Norway because sometimes you can offer legal advice through email, through Skype like this, and things like that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and I was born from a family of 3 children, the firstborn being my brother, and the second and the last born is my brother. My father died in 1993 by car accident, and so I still have my mom who lives with her mother in the outskirts of Dar es Salaam.
Ashura, I wanted to talk a little bit about Tanzania, just to give people a picture of where exactly it is on the African continent and how big it is.
Sure. So Tanzania is in East African side of the continent.
Yes.
And it has a population of, we are not sure, since when was the last census? Maybe 2012? So for now, it could be about 60 million people. Last time it was 55, 56.
It's a big country.
It's a big country.
What I was fascinated about when I speak to you and when I spoke to my guest from Kenya was how amazing your English is. And I'm like, how do you speak such amazing English?
I am flattered. Thank you. In Swahili, we have 2 official languages, which are Swahili and English. So in primary school, we are studying in English. We are studying in Swahili, but we study English as a lesson. But once we go to secondary school, the medium of instruction changes to English, and then we study Swahili as a lesson. I guess, that could be a reason that people would speak both languages if you have been to secondary school and above.
Yeah. Should we jump in and talk about Mama Rose?
My mom named Rose. She was born in a family of 2 children, which is not so typical. Usually people in Tanzania would have many children, at least 4, 5, and above.
Ashura, people have children so the children can help in household one day, or just because
Yeah.
women don't have the right to not have children?
Yeah, they don't have the right to choice of how many children they can have. That's one thing. Another thing, children are taken as some kind of an insurance and support and a manpower for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the healthcare system is so bad, there are families that will have many children saying they never know who will survive.
Yeah.
So if you have one and they die from malaria, then you're like, yeah, too bad. But if you have many, they're not going to die, all of them will not die, at one moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the arguments of some families, that they have many children because the healthcare is so bad that they don't know who will survive from all these diseases that are curable, but because they cannot afford the healthcare.
Yeah.
Another thing is to have the manpower in the family, like people who do the house chores and farming, and also the insurance to support parents when they're old. Since we don't have the pension system for elders, then you have to depend on your children.
Yeah.
If you are childless, it's like, up to you. It's your fault that nobody's able to support you when you're old. So, yeah, that's the idea behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, my grandma is born from a family. They were 14.
From one mother?
Yes, I think so. From one mother.
Wow.
Then I believe there are even more from different mothers, because my grandfather had many wives. So then, yeah.
Yeah.
But then my grandma had only two, my mom, the firstborn, and her young sister, Gimelda. And my mom met my late father in the 80s, and yeah, they fell in love and they were living together in Dar es Salaam. And then my mom was working so hard because my father was a truck driver. So he would travel, and he was crossing countries. He would be away for like 2 or 3 weeks at some point. And then my mom was the one taking care of the house and the family. She was farming. She was feeding all of us. I was able to go to kindergarten, and I was having a good life.
I just want to go back because you said she worked as house help.
Oh, yeah, I should have.
She worked as house help. What is VSO? You said VSO.
Yeah, VSO is a UK-based organization for volunteers.
Oh, okay. So she worked for them as house help.
In the 80s, to be able to work for the white people, it's like, you have won a lottery or something.
Okay.
Yes, and my mom was proud, and she still has her ID. That's when I was able to see. I'm like, oh, it looked perfect, as if it was made 3 years ago. It's crazy, from the 80s, yeah.
So she was working and she was earning her money, and you said she was able to buy herself some things and things for the household. And
yes, she was able, because she was making money. I mean, I don't know how small, but then it was enough. And when you can get it every month, you can plan your life. So for example, she bought all the utensils that we were using in the house, and some furnitures and clothes and stuff. She was supporting the family from this work.
Yeah. She also had a farm. When did she do this at the same time, or did she do that later?
She did that later, because when she married my late father, she stopped working for VSO.
Okay.
So then that's when she started the farming activity just by our house, because by then we were living still in Dar es Salaam, and Dar es Salaam was like a forest. Most people had a lot of space. So in our house, we had a 2-bedroom house, and then we had a big farm outside, about 1/4 acre. Yeah.
Okay, and she was growing potatoes and cassava and vegetables.
And my mom, she has a good hand. Whatever she plants, it really multiplies. She was harvesting, really good and a lot of produce from farming.
So she was selling some. You said that she was managed to sell some and bring in the money into the household again.
Yes. Yeah. So it was even mostly for selling, and then we eat the last one. But we were always able to eat whatever she was producing, but it was mostly for selling. So people it was like a small market. Every day people come to buy either vegetable or potatoes for breakfast, or cassava or something. Yes, it was a busy place.
And then the tragedy happened.
Yeah, and then the accident happened.
Sorry.
When it happened, so my father's family sent somebody to come and say, I'll call my mom, like, oh, you're called to this uncle, my uncle, the young brother of my late father. And then without telling that there was a funeral. So she went there like just going to listen to whatever message there was. And then when she got there, that's when she was informed that my late father died. And so the funeral started there and she was crying. And I asked my mom, why are you crying? And she said, your father died. And I did not understand. I was 7. I'm like, my father is traveling and he said he will bring me a pair of shoes. So it's not my father. Which father? She said, yeah, your father who traveled. It's really, now thinking about it, yeah, it's a pretty sad. I never knew what death meant that time until later when I kept on asking about him. And then, so if person dies, then you don't get to see them anymore. They're not coming back.
And this is where trouble started for her because of the violence against widows that we talked about, which still happens in many parts of Africa, and it's a very, very, very big issue.
Indeed, and that's why I mentioned how my mom was informed.
Yeah.
Because they could have said when they arrived at home and she could have prepared and put her stuff well. They just say, there's a message at your brother-in-law and you need to go there. And then my mom went there, there's a funeral. So from that moment, she was not allowed to come back to her house. Imagine, it's like something happens overnight. Even a refugee will be treated well. You'd know, like, now you're going to this destination and take your stuff, take your belongings. But she just went to listen to this message that she was called to, and then there was a funeral, and then she was not allowed to come back to the house. So then the family came, and they took everything. They took the furniture. Everything was in there, even her own clothes.
That as much as I read and we spoke, that really happens a lot, that the family of the husband then either wants to take his wife into the family to basically work for them, or they just take everything away from her and kick her out of her own life. And there's a lot of abuse, and these women are powerless, basically.
Yes, indeed. Most families, they would inherit wives. So a young brother would say, come stay with me and then we can manage the properties. But it's like saying, come and be our housemaid and we'll take care of everything else. Or like they kick you out, like my mother, and they take everything, even her own clothes. Like you have no clothes to change. Like, seriously? Or some family that they'll curse you and say that you caused the death and you deserve something even more punishable. Like, they can do strange things to women.
So what did she do then?
Yeah, she had nowhere to go except her own mother. And so she went to live with her mother in the outskirts of Dar es Salaam. And from what my mom tells me, my grandma was not very supportive of her. And considering that she had a small baby, she had no economic resources, and she had no place to farm anymore, and she had no capital to start a small business. So life was really, really tough. Luckily, she found a friend who was a neighbor, this woman called Mama Rajabu. Very, very good woman. She's an activist and feminist, I should say.
Oh, great.
Even though she's uneducated, she wouldn't know the meaning of a feminist, but she was very, very supportive of my mother and encouraging her that it is going to get better and that she can start her life over. And she supported her with a small capital to start selling some snack for school children.
And this is when you were sent to an uncle at one point, and your brothers were sent to another uncle.
Yeah. So because my mom had my young brother by then was 2, then of course nobody will be able to take care of a 2-year-old boy except the mother. And I was the girl. One of my uncles said I would take Ashura, and another one took my brother. So yes, I was taken to live with my uncle who had 5 children of his own. And it was not an easy life, I must say. It was a lot of work. I was working so hard. The first one to wake up, the last one to sleep.
They used you as a house. They used you as a house help.
Yes, I felt like I was used
Yeah.
as a housemaid. And then at one point, I asked my uncle, like, why I was doing so much work when his firstborn, he's my cousin, and we aged the same. We were born the same year. And he said, because you're a woman, one day you'll be married and you need to be able to take care of your house. But your brother or your cousin is a boy. And I felt, it felt so wrong. It felt like it was not right and not fair. And that's one of the reasons for the experience of my mother being ripped out every belonging that even some she earned herself. And this idea that if you're a woman, you're expected to be married and be a housemaid. I'm like, I don't see myself that way.
And work so hard.
Yes, yeah, at a young age. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes people will come in the house and ask, like, why is this girl working so hard? And my aunt would say, yeah, I'm teaching her a responsibility and how to be independent, blah, blah, blah. It was so painful. I had no time to play. I had no time to be a child.
How old were you, Ashura?
They took me when I was 8.
Oh my
So
God.
I had no time to be a child. I was even washing my uncle's clothes. And imagine a man's shirt and
Yeah.
the trouser. It's so hard work for
It
an
is
8-year-old
hard work with little
girl. Yeah.
hands. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And but then you managed to leave at one point to study. Did you leave for high school or did you leave later for university?
I left after high school. Was it? No, during the high school. So I stayed with them for a long time, from 1993 until 2007.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, about 14 years. Yeah. But then I had to do all the work to be able to go to school because it was paying tuition for me. And I went to public school, and people might know that the education system in Tanzania, especially the public education, is not functioning so well. So you have classes with no desk, with no books, sometimes with leaked roof, and sometimes you have to walk a long distance like I did. I was walking about a kilometer or two to get to school and back every day. But that was the only place where I could be a child and be free. So then I had to study so hard. It felt empowering, even when I was struggling at home. But then when you're at school, then that's the time you can be free and study and be with a fellow student. So yes, I studied really hard. And until I finished primary school, I went to secondary. Then at high school is when I left. I said, I feel like I'm grown up enough. I can be on my own.
You ladies are amazing. I am in awe and humbled in front of you.
Thank you.
It's amazing. And so Mama Rose is doing fine. You said she's happy and she manages to she's still selling snacks and manages to have this mini business.
She was selling snacks then in 1993 when a friend supported her. But now she was doing even a better business. She was selling chicken.
Oh, good. Is she raising
Yeah.
her chickens and selling them?
Yes, she's raising her chicken. And
Okay.
as I said, she has a good hand. She's raising very tasty and big chicken.
Good for her. And she's doing okay, you said?
She's doing okay, except when Corona came.
Oh.
So then the food business went down, including chicken. There was no business at all. But now we managed. I supported her with a small capital to start making homemade liquid soap.
Oh, great.
Because now people have to wash their hands 20 times a day. So then she's making liquid soap and selling them. And she told me that I was talking to her like a few days ago that it's not so bad. It's better because then the chicken business was not selling anymore. But now it's better. She can make some money for living expenses, and life goes on. She's happy.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. Let's learn from her. We talked about a few lessons. Will you share them with us?
Sure.
We learned already so much just through her story, but let's do the lessons.
Yeah. So from Mama Rose, I learned that we need to be strong and have the courage to endure because sometimes we might be going through difficult moments and situations. We should not give up, because at the end of it, at the end of the tunnel, there'll be a light. So if we have the courage to endure, then we can learn through the process and come out of it even better persons. But if we give up, then we might lose the lesson that we might be able to get from the situation that we're going through. And I also learned that you have to work really hard. Nobody's going to work for you or make it work for you. You have to do it yourself, because you know better what you want and how you want to get anything or anywhere. So you have to work so hard. And she taught me that we need to be able to focus on our life, because without focus, we may lose the sight of our dreams, because there may be a lot of interruptions along the way. And if your focus is not set, then you may go astray.
I love this topic. We never had this lesson before, this lesson of focusing on your own life and yourself. And you especially mentioned how you just don't have time to deal with other people's business. And nowadays,
I know it may sound selfish, but I guess
I don't think it sounds selfish, because for me, the first thing I think about is gossip and, not necessarily things that we deal with other people's lives that are useless, that is not directly helping them or us. And just concentrating on your life and your path. I think this is a very, very important lesson.
Yes, it is indeed. And
do we want to say how you were criticized at school for that? I found that very funny.
I see. Yeah, I was criticized or named as I don't like it, but people did it. They say that I was like a white person. They considered me as a white person. I said, why? In Swahili, we have the word mzungu. They say, oh, she's like mzungu. She's like a white person. And I'm like, why? They say, because you don't mind other people's business. I'm like, is this not supposed to be the way? Like, everybody should mind their own business? It's like, no, people sometimes want you to gossip and be able to, follow what other people are doing. I have so much to do and
you
think.
You were working so hard. You were working so hard.
Yeah, I was. So I had no time to really gossip and, mind other people's business.
I love this topic.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna start not minding other people's business so much. I won't read gossip magazines anymore.
Don't stop interviewing people, because
no, as I said, we're not talking about the positive and inspiring and helping. I really believe that what we're doing here, the Thank You Mama, and as much as I hear from the listeners, it's really inspiring women, and it's good. We are doing something constructive here.
Yeah.
And we had the last lesson, which was patience. I think you did talk about that already.
Yes, I think so.
Ashura, was there anything that she was not able to teach you? Something where you're like, this is important in life. I'm going to teach my daughter. My mom was just not able to teach me.
This was really hard to think through. But I remember growing up, at some point, I felt like I had the right to blame my mom for some of the things that happened in her life. And she was so patient not to take it personal or be angry at me. But still, she didn't tell me. I wish she told me that whatever happens is the only thing that could have happened. So, and then I've come to learn myself, like, things are happening in life and you're like, oh, why me? But if you say, why me, then why should it happen to somebody else? Mm-hmm. It was meant to happen to us for a specific purpose. And we should learn through that purpose or lesson. Mm-hmm. So that's something I wish she could have told me, because now I've come to learn myself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes through the hard way. And you're like, oh, blaming yourself. You can be hard on yourself. But no, because the moment you made the choice, you had maybe good intention, or you thought that was the right thing, and then the result come differently. then you should not be hard on yourself, because it happens for a reason, and that was the only thing that could have happened.
Yeah. And I love your point of learning from it. I think that's a very, very important part of life, is things happen, and if you learn from it and if you come out stronger from it, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
That's
teach Kai that.
Nice.
That we have to learn from this situation, and that then it's okay to make mistakes, or, face your decisions if you've learned from them.
Yeah.
Ashura, thank you so much. This is really very inspiring and eye-opening. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. My pleasure. I just hope it was meaningful, and
it is. It's
very meaningful. I did well. I hope
you did perfectly.
I was a bit nervous, and it's like, oh, what am I talking about? But
about life, about being a woman.
Yeah.
Ashura, let's just quickly recap the lessons we learned from your mom which are about endurance and courage and learning from the process. Yeah. About hope that will always keep you going. Your mom, you said, was Christian, and her hope and her faith gave her a lot of strength to face all these things.
Yeah, she's still a Christian and believing in God.
Yeah. Hard work, and I love it how you also added, nobody will work for you. There are things in life you just have to do yourself. Yeah. Focus on your own life. When you're working hard, you don't have time to deal with other people's business. Yeah. In a non-constructive and non-helpful way.
Yeah, that's right.
Patience. You said that things will take time, but if you believe in the process, then you can achieve your dreams in time.
Yes, that's right.
And then as a lesson you wish Rose taught you was not to ask why me, but to accept that in life certain things just happen, and you shouldn't blame yourself. You just go through them, solve them, and learn from them. Yeah. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Ashura, thank you again for being my guest, and all the best.
Thank you for having me.
If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyoumama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Teider, that's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.